Should I get the pink phone or the gray phone? Pink is fun and sparkly, but gray looks super serious, like a secret spy phone. What do you think, Smartypants listeners? Okay, I'll go with pink, because why not sparkle while I call my grandma?
Great choice, Emma. Let me just set it up for you. All I need to do is put in your SIM card.
Wait a second, my what now?
Your SIM card. It's the tiny little chip that helps your phone know who you are and lets you call, text, and use the internet.
Oh, right! It's funny you mentioned Joan, because we got a question from our friend Carmel. Hey, Carmel!
Hi, Emma. I have a question about SIM cards. What's so special about SIM cards that they make the telephone work?
That, Carmel, is a super creative question, right, Joan?
Right! And I hope you're ready, Emma. I know your listeners are travelers to wild places like the deep sea and Venice. But today, we're going to dive down a rabbit hole of history to discover how people started to talk to each other over long distances, how beeps and boops were used before we had text messaging, and how cell phones have shrunk over the years to fit in your palm of your hand.
Can't wait. Are you guys ready to travel back in time?
I am.
Me too. Let's go. We're back from our summer break with our 5th episode of the podcast that delivers weird, wonderful, and just downright cool facts to you so that when you are in class, you can be the big cheese with all the answers. And today, Carmel's question is taking us on a field trip to discover how people started to communicate even when they were far apart, which turns out is much better than shouting really loudly. Okay, Joan, let's start at the very beginning. Phones didn't always look like the shiny pocket computers we have today, right?
Oh, no, not at all. The very first phones were big, clunky machines invented about 150 years ago. Alexander Graham Bell was the first person to make a phone call on what was his invention and got his voice to travel through a wire to another device.
Who did he call?
He actually called his assistant, who was in the room next door, and said, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you."
He didn't first say hello? That's a bit rude.
Well, it was the very first test call of a phone. And get this, Mr. Bell actually wanted people to say ahoy when they answered the phone. But another scientist, Thomas Edison, suggested saying hello, and that pretty much has stuck until today.
I'm gonna go with ahoy from now on. Way cooler. But I'm wondering how people spoke to each other before the phone was invented. They couldn't email or text each other. So what did they do before Mr. Bell invented the phone?
Let's just say that people were pretty creative.
Can you give us a 5-minute history lesson?
Sure. One of the oldest ways people sent messages was with fire, using smoke signals. So imagine it was like sending emojis in the sky so that somebody far away could see what you were trying to say.
Cool, and very creative indeed.
Yep. Then people started writing letters and sending it to one another. Different cultures did this in different ways. Some used pigeons to fly messages. Some used riders on horses. And some just sent people to run with messages from one place to another.
That sounds exhausting compared to texting today. How far could people run?
So here's a fun fact. In ancient Greece, a soldier ran about 40 kilometers or 25 miles from the city of Marathon to Athens to deliver a message. We won the battle! And that's why today's long race is called a marathon.
Smartypants, do any of you know someone who has run a marathon?
I do, but they didn't have to deliver any messages. They were just really tired at the end.
Okay, Joan, let's get back to our history lesson.
So, over time, as technology developed, people also started using tools that would send messages quicker and further. In the 1800s, the telegraph was invented. This device was kind of the first way to text, but there were no emojis or autocomplete. People had to be trained to listen to beeps and boops
and translate them to words.
So what would "Hey Smartypants" sound like?
Well, I just happen to have my telegraph here with me. It would sound like this.
Cool! That sounds like a robot.
A little bit, that's true. Morse code was very advanced for the time, even if it seems old-fashioned to us today. Our listeners can try Morse code and create their own messages to experience it.
That's a great idea. Smartypants, check the description of this episode for a link to a Morse code translator. You can write your own code for you and your friends and try to decode others' messages. Okay, Joan, so we spoke about devices before the phone and about Belle's first phone. Where are we on our journey to cell phones and SIM cards?
We're getting there. We spoke about how Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone in 1876. That was a game changer. After that, the technology developed pretty quickly. The first phones that were used in homes in the 1900s looked like candlesticks.
I hope no one mistook those phones as actual candlesticks. Burning candles in your ear? Yikes.
As more and more phone wires were put up, people could also start making longer distance calls. And in 1927, the first call was made from New York to London, across the ocean.
Who called who?
The U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Herbert Hoover, called Sir Evelyn P. Murray, head of the British General Post Office. No one could call that far at the time, so the call was really expensive. Guess how much it cost?
$2.
A little bit more than that. It cost them the equivalent of $1,000 today.
Whoa, so a bit more than my allowance.
Indeed. So moving forwards, after candlestick phones, Sid has started introducing rotary phones, those phones with the round dial and numbers. People had to spin the phone dial to enter a number, but it was also around the first time people could call numbers directly. Until then, you had to speak to an operator to connect you to another person.
An operator? Like a real Siri?
Yes. Operators, or real Siris, would sit at a big board called a switchboard and literally connect your wire to another person's wire. But once direct dial phones were introduced, switchboards weren't really needed anymore.
What happened next?
The next big upgrades were the introduction of push phones, those phones with buttons instead of round dials, and then the cell phone.
Okay, now it's starting to sound familiar with screens and emojis, right?
Not yet. The first cell phones looked like bricks and were really expensive and really heavy. In the 1990s, they started to shrink and become more affordable, and that's also when SIM cards started to come into use.
So that's about when my parents used to play Snake on their phone. They always tell me how they once had a small screen with no colors and just 1 or 2 games.
That was the most popular game by far at the time. As phones got more popular, companies needed a way to ensure that the device, meaning the phone, could connect to their network.
Like when I sign up for school events or other activities so that I can attend them.
Pretty much. And remember, cell phones don't need wires. They work by connecting to wireless networks. So the phone company needs a way to ensure that people who have signed up to their network are able to use it.
Super smart. From smoke signals to SIM cards. That's a fascinating journey.
It's pretty crazy to think just how far we've come. And today you'll find SIM cards in so many devices like tablets and cars and watches, basically anything that's connected to the internet somehow so that it can communicate with the world.
And so that we can send emojis to Grandma. Joan, thank you so much for taking us on this journey. Smartypants, I hope you had fun learning about how we can talk to each other. And don't forget to ask your parents what their high score was on Snake.
I think mine was 5:29. Oh, now I want to play it again. Bye, Smartypants.
See you next time, Smartypants. Bye! The Hey Smartypants podcast is produced by Leora and Nevo Cohen and their dad. Our theme music was created by Andre Rossi, and we use different AI voices, like mine, to deliver our content. We invite you to send us questions you want the answer to our email, heysmartypantspodcast@gmail.com. See you next time.